Hello from the Yarn Closet in Southern Arizona. No, that's not an improvement. Oh my, what a day we're having. End of January, end-ish. I think it's the 18th. 18th of January, 2024. Anyway, I have, here, people like this. I have prepared today. See all this preparation? Yes, that is my donation box. Boxes that can be filled for donation. That's going to my mother. Those are parts of a thing that might go to my mother. We trade back and forth a lot because we're blind. So if we get done with something, we let the other person know we're done with it so they can shop it first, since going out and shopping is such a challenge. And I took a shower today. I wanted to yesterday, but then my husband took a nap, so then it was to run a hairdryer, would have woken him up and whatever. So sometimes you don't get to, even when your kids are older. But I have a whole plan for today. I am so excited. I am Laura from the Yarn Closet. I live in Southern Arizona, about an hour south of Tucson. So if you have any real life questions about border issues, just send them my way. Because we're an hour south of Tucson, we're only a couple of hours to the actual border. We know people who are Border Patrol people. We engage with them on a fairly regular basis. There's people coyotes and regular coyotes going through our property. We live in the country on about 5 acres. And we're at about 4,000 feet. So we do get snow and a lot of wind because we're in a very hilly spot. We had goats and pigs and baby pigs and cattle and turkeys and chickens that we were processing and slaughtering for about 2 years, and large gardens. But right now we have none of it, and it is a relief. The last 2 chickens went, we're pretty sure, from a couple of bobcats. Like, literally might have happened while I was outside. They were just in bushes, and since I'm blind, and if you're wondering, dude, how can you see if you're blind? Blind doesn't mean you don't see anything. Most blind people see. We just see patches of tissue paper with maybe some color or some bursts of movement or light. Most blind people don't see nothing or black. It's degrees of tissue paper to gray to black, blur, cloudiness, and stuff. So if you've had years of more normal sight, your brain understands what a cantaloupe looks like versus a banana. And, sorry. Oh my gosh. So your brain will fill in. There's also a thing called Charles Bonnet syndrome. If you lose your sight, or as you're losing your sight, if you lose big chunks, your brain tries to make you happy and fill in what it thinks might be there. So that black spot on the floor, that's just dirt. You might look over and think, oh my God, I have a turtle in the middle of my floor. Or you might see these swashes of what look like almost clouds in color, or sparkles in color, but bigger. Like if confetti was the size of paper in different colors, just popping up in your vision. There's also cobwebbing that can happen where it seems like you're looking through cobwebs. That's called drusen. You can have that sucked out of your eyes. It will potentially come back. Most eye procedures you have done, you don't feel because there's no actual nerves in your eyeballs. But you have connections from your eyes to your brain. You can have damage in those highways and freeways and streets, which I do. And you can have damage in your eyeball itself. Part of that many people know is called the retina. It's the back part. And that has a lot of the blood and different cones and different things that help you interpret pictures. And those can get damaged through blood loss and other stuff. There's just so much stuff. My eyeballs do this. It's called nystagmus. I don't have the worst case of it, but on days that I'm really tired, by the afternoon, evening, it can be pretty bad. And I would walk around with my left eye shut all the time, except my mother taped it up as a child. I've never had to be blind. Normal's 2020. Perfect normal's 2020. Some people actually have 2010, 2015, better than what the standard for normal is, 2020. To be blind, it's 2200. That means at 20 feet versus 200 feet, you can see, I can see, whatever. Go look it up. I'm not a damn encyclopedia. I'm just a person who's trying to cope with it myself. There's other things too. So most people see about, they actually say the standard is about 160, 165 degrees of vision, which isn't exactly half of a circle. Okay, most people see that. You can be legally blind if you see less than 20 degrees of vision. I've got maybe 10 now, which means look through a straw. Mine is also very blurry because the vision in this eye was as a child 2400. It's now 2800. The vision in this eye, which at my best in childhood was 2035 from all the records that I have, and I had eye surgeries and stuff done. It's now 2100. But I have maybe 10 degrees of vision, means look through a straw and try to walk through that like narrow door frames. Most door frames are 36 inches nowadays. If you buy an old home in Arizona, it might be 28 inches and you might be slamming your shoulders. You might start buying only coffee tables and end tables with curved edges because you don't like slamming your knees into them. And guess what? I'm not effing Daredevil. I'm tired. I'm old. I have children. I have a husband. I have parents. Everybody's dealing with crap. Blindness, autism, periods at 9 years old, terminal kidney cancers, pacemakers, blindness in elderly years, unable to hear in elderly years, lung diseases. I mean, we all have got our stuff. And your ability to cope with stuff, I believe, is much less as you age because your interaction with other people is much less. I believe the more you get out and interact with other people, the greater your ability to cope with the stresses of life. I thought the pandemic was going to teach people that because it seemed like they were all recognizing this god-awful stress of being housebound. Well, I guess everybody with a driver's license forgot what that was like. Oh, but you got Uber. Okay, can your budget, what are you going to cut out of your grocery bill to pay that $65 Uber bill to go to the grocery store and get home through Uber? Oh, well then grocery delivery. That's great, but the grocery delivery guys, as good as they are, will replace lemons with limes. Blueberry muffins with lemon muffins, key lime pie with cheesecake. So if you want to get what you order, not always. So you could get your fees down to about $15 instead of the total fee of an Uber, but what if you're still not going to get exactly what you want? What if that laundry detergent that has to be unscented because you have an allergic reaction comes in and it's scented? They don't make it right. You might be able to get a hold of somebody through email and get the charge for it reduced, but you still need your unscented laundry detergent. So now who do you call to get it? So yes, stuff can be accomplished, but there's a lot of stress when you add in all these other layers. And then sometimes you have to just take a break, and then that pisses people off. Well, why are you off that app? Because they don't work with accessibility features the way that other apps do. And so it's very confusing. And it feels more isolating. How often do you sit with these glasses like this? So these are, have you ever seen these? These are TV glasses for bedbound, literally bedbound people. Because if you're laying flat in bed and your TV's straight across, you can put these on and you can see it. While you're laying flat in bed, you can see the TV at the end of the bed without having to move your head and neck because of the prisms in here, because of the reflection stuff that's going on. So because I've had those shoulder and neck problems that we've talked about, sometimes I have to sit with my cell phone here. The problem is I can't really get my magnification glasses to fit and work well with these. So then I don't see clearly what's going on, but I still am able to have my head and my neck in a position that accommodates my needs. But if you've got an elderly person that really lays flat in bed and wants to watch TV, these are a good thing to invest in. And you can get $10 pairs on Amazon. My little thing I showed you with my notes, I can clip my fingernails under there and stuff. But I have to get the stuff, I have to bring it out here to where this is, because there's no place convenient in my home that has this. I don't actually have a desk space in my home. The kids do, but I don't. I mean, I should, but my daughter's taken over a second desk. But she's so artsy craftsy that it's just easier to allow it for a while. Eventually, I'll get my own. And I have this space out here, but I don't always like coming out and being, once again, more isolated away from the other people. This conversation isn't on the stinking notes at all. We're going to have a long chat today. And I've decided to get back to the chatting because I don't have the in real life people. I just don't. So I'm going to fill it with what I can, because that is something that the pandemic brought to us. It was a lot better connection resources online in some ways. Okay. So what does it say? Oh my God. So this last week, we've had cold snaps. Boom, 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 boom. And I have a lot of regular stuff that gets delivered from Amazon every month because it's cheaper. Our coffee pods are cheaper through Amazon. My husband drinks a lot of coffee. It settles his chest. Feels good. I've been doing this. Catalyst cat litter. I was not able to cancel this last order. This is a 10-pound bag. You take it out of that bag, you pour it into a 40-pound bucket. So you think 10 pounds and it costs me $16. But it's the equivalent of one of those 40-pound buckets of the clay stuff. The problem is it's not low dust. I like the smell of it. It doesn't clump as well as the clay. So you do have to dump it. I have 5 acres I can dump it on, and it's wood, but this is more the texture of the clay. Um, and then it just naturally degrades outside because it's wood. That makes me happy. The clay stuff is not like that. The clumping clay stuff's not like that. Well, so I've been really working at this minimal thing because my eyesight has gotten worse in the last year to the point that I'm having some of that Charles Bonnet syndrome stuff. And luckily I don't have the kind, some people see god-awful things like snakes and tarantulas and scary stuff. I think they have more anxiety. I've talked about this before. I don't see that stuff. I see funny things that I obviously know are, oh, that's probably a hallucination. And I've been talking more and more with my kids. Sure, we prepare I grew up in a time where we were still having the Cold War. And so we were hiding under our desks in school and having practices for when the Russians dropped the bomb. So there was this prepare for the worst mentality, but hope for the best. I am realizing at my 52-year-old age that I need to unlearn that and stop coming from a point of negativity. And so even though we might have supply chain issues over the next couple of years again that are bad, like we did with the pandemic, most of us coped without having a crazy pantry. I live in Mormon country, so we have crazy pantry space in our home. But I've really pared that down because I came to find out that a lot of the stuff wasn't getting used up fast enough. And it just seemed a bit excessive. So now I have this extra catalyst because now what I have found is I was running short. So I sent my parents, since they were coming to the house, I sent them to the store to get a bag of this. They live in Tucson, an hour away. But they'll still come pick up the kids to do something, whatever. And it said online that the store had it. Well, the store didn't have it. So they ended up buying me Nature's Miracle Clumping Corn Cob because texturally it was very similar. Now, it doesn't say anywhere on there that it's fragranced, but there's a fragrance to it. It's not bad. It's bad when you dump it out of the bag, but then it wasn't real bad. You could smell it a little bit when you're scooping. My cats like that better than the wood stuff. And it clumps better and it's way less dusty. So I was really worried because my delivery is going to be about a week out. So I got the corn cob stuff. So now I have one that's like mixed corn cob and wood and one that's corn cob and just corn cob. Two of them. Because I brought one in that I have a few things saved in case we get an animal that gets sick. We can house it over here. Away from the other ones if there's a contagious thing or whatever. So I keep like a litter box and whatever. So I put that one in the house. Well, now they don't want to use the wood one. Leaving it in until I have an extra bag and can like start to shuffle. But now I'm transitioning to the corn cob stuff because it does clump better. It's actually a little bit cheaper. It's similar in that 10 pounds is more equivalent to 30 pounds, not 40. But I think you'll get more, it seems like I'm getting more life out of the corn cob because it clumps so much better. Whereas the wood stuff tended to have an odor more quickly. And I'm very sensitive to odor, not because I'm Daredevil, but because I don't pay attention to my eyesight the way that you do. I pay attention to my sense of smell and my hearing. I don't do things based on what I see because some of what I see can be false. And unless I'm really stopping and thinking about that, that's a shit ton of energy I don't have either on a daily basis. But it was kind of crazy that this minimalism walk led me to a place where I was actually running out. And it was nerve-wracking. There was anxiety. But you know what? I didn't run out. There was a thing that I could do and accommodate this. And then I found something totally better. I'm going to stop keeping the extra of everything. And I'm going to let myself run out a little bit more to see what else is out there. And I think that these are things that we've created in our society that cause this anxiety, this lack mentality, when really there is no lack. There might not be my exact thing, but if I can get something that works the same or does the same, who cares? Oh, she moved. Little diaper Mitzi's out here with me. She hasn't gone potty this morning. She went in the middle of the night. I don't know. She's been wonky lately. Come here. Come here. See? Diaper Mitzi. It even matches her hair. Love you. So I'm really excited that I went through this experience. And I'm going to try to run out a little bit more and see where that leads me, because my life needs to be a little bit more open to new stuff. Okay, go lay down. Okay, so have you seen the journaling app on your iPhone update? I've started doing it. I don't know that it's as physically satisfying as handwriting, but here's the thing. Once again, handwriting has its limitations for me now. I have to either use stuff with really heavy lines on it, and then work hard to stay on those lines, or rulers that I write on top of, and then everything looks a little bit funny, but at least it stays, and I have to write with something that I can feel so I don't write over if I take my pencil or pen off the paper, and I'm fine with it. I don't give a shit that I have to do all this stuff. I love my life. I've gotten to do more life stuff in a lot of regards since I became blind than I did before. I mean, I had children after it. I found husbands after it. I've moved multiple times after it. Been a homesteader. I mean, I've done all kinds of stuff. I just put a wood floor in of my daughter's. Yes, I couldn't do it by myself because I couldn't run the saw. I didn't want to take that risk. I put in a lighting fixture in my bathroom. I can't really paint anymore. Painting is a challenge. I have to get the really good paint. It has to be a darker color. The lighter colors that I kind of want to use, I can't tell that there's blotchiness until all of a sudden one day I can. Because I happen to be in the room with the light just right, and I think, why has no one told me that? But anyway, this journaling app, I've been doing it, and I think that there is some benefit to it. And it's really made me stop and think. Don't miss the journey because you're so focused on being at the next destination and you're not there yet. The journey matters more than the destination. So here's the thing. There have been a lot of studies over the years. And people talk about one study that's in the news right now. What is the really exciting thing when you get to have this night out with your friends and you're going to this party and they have all these different really crazy activities? Which is the most fun thing? Prepping with your friends. It's not the destination. It's not the cool ride. It's not the cool food. It's the time spent with your friends getting ready for it. I've got a group of women in my life that are realizing maybe we're not in the place we need to be. I think this is a big thing for menopausal women, and other groups of women, and ableism women, which means disabled women, and all kinds of stuff. But here's the thing. Hey, where are you going? What are you doing? Do you need to go potty now? Well, guess what? Come sit. You do. Okay. All right. I will let you out, but you gotta come back. Go potty. Go potty. Oh, hi. Were you just telling me there was a cat at the door? You're such a babysitter. Little Mitzi. Mitzi, come on. Outside, Mitzi. Mitzi. I'm sorry. So Mitzi is our babysitter. she will tell us anytime there's a cat at the door. Because sometimes they just sit at the door and they don't make a lot of noise and they just wait. Really nice temps today of hopefully the upper 60s. So she was telling me there was a cat outside that door. There you go. Because this is the thing people don't understand when I talk. See, that's my door. That's our front porch. That's the door to our house. The master bedroom is beyond here, the master bathroom. And then beyond that is actually another room like this, but slightly larger off of our back porch. That is like our outdoor pantry kitchen. And I've been thinking it might be kind of interesting to put a door from the master into here. We'd wanted to do that when we first moved in. But then also the master bath has a bathtub and a shower, and to take out the bathtub, put a doorway from the bathroom into that pantry, and then reroute that water from the tub into the pantry so you can have a full sink in there. And you could actually set up then what would be considered a 1-bedroom apartment. Because they can enter here or enter off the back porch and have their own kitchen, their own bathroom, their own bedroom, their own little sitting room. And that might be an interesting thing to do with the elderly people in my life. Because my dad doesn't golf anymore, and it might be something coming down the pike. God forbid my mom ended up alone and blind. You know, she might want an option like that. Secondarily, I don't know that it would necessarily hurt the value of the property. So, I mean, I'm retired and raising kind of semi-quiet children, so having projects is certainly something that I like to get involved in. And we still have 3 bedrooms and a bathroom on the other side of the house, one of which is master bedroom large. So there's like 2 master bedroom large bedrooms in the house. Just one has the bathroom, one doesn't. And so we could be in a position to be able to accommodate an elderly person if we needed to. And I think that that's becoming more and more a thing people are interested in. So I don't know that it would really hurt the value of the house. At my age, I have definitely had homes where I've personalized it enough that, yeah, you spent a lot of money to get that really cool garage shop thing, but it was so personalized to your auto detailing sideline that the next guy really didn't see the value of it. So it didn't really help you. You can over-personalize things in a way that makes them almost less appealing to the next guy. So that is something you have to be conscientious about. Anyway, we did just finish the floor in my daughter's room. We came to realize, and I've been going on and on about it for months over the summer, and I know I've talked about it. I'm not losing it that much. I know that I do a lot of repetition in my chats. Because you're my friend. You're who I get to talk to. And it was really bad when we ripped up that carpeting. It was really bad. We were really concerned that because that was a room where the door was damaged, where they had locked before us, they'd locked a cat in there. We were really concerned that the subflooring was going to be stained. It wasn't, thank God. But the dogs that we had at one point, and I realized that Chip had been marking in the house way longer than I was catching. So then we had a foster for a while, Scotty, that we sort of adopted for about 6 months, and then he had to go because we realized that he was deaf, and it was just too hard to, if he got away, get him back. And I didn't feel like that was safe with all the critters we have here. Just to walk around our own property. I have my son come with me sometimes if it's too early, or if Mitzi takes off and it's a little bit too early in the morning. My husband might walk also. He open carries all the time. He's got a concealed carry permit. He was a Marine sniper unit, whatever. But like, we have a BB gun that's deadly by the back door in case, like one night where you go to walk out and take out the trash and there's a skunk on the back porch. Javelina, this morning I walk out the front door and there's 2 javelinas. They're not normally out at that time in the morning. They're normally bedded down. And there's 2 javelinas. Javelinas are wild pigs, wild boars. Right out in front. So we do, we have stuff to worry about, not to mention people coyotes and animal coyotes and mountain lions and so we did that floor, and it's so nice. The room looks bigger. I rearranged it because here's the thing. If you're frustrated with your space, try rearranging it. Even if you have to rearrange it back the way it was to begin with, just try. Because easy things, they like to say, is paint your room. Okay, it's not easy for me to do that anymore. And her room needs stinking paint, but nobody wants to do it, so it's not happening. But we got the carpet and the pad out that was stained, and I'd been all summer long cleaning it, and it was still god-awful. It would get better for a few days, and it was just god-awful. And she's got allergy issues, so, I mean, what a relief to get that out of there. And yeah, now I've got multiple different floorings throughout my house, which is not something people like, but who cares? I'm not reselling this house tomorrow. I'm living in it tomorrow. And I'm living in it today. And when we look at the journey is today. And I realize that I have spent time in the last few years so focused on some of those future things that I'm missing where I am today and enjoying where I am today. Maybe I'm not in the end goal of that journey that I want to be at. Maybe there's a destination I'd like to be at that isn't here. But if I'm so focused on the fact that I'm not there, I'm not going to be happy today. And like we tell our 28-year-old, you're going to end up 30. So what do you want to do in the next 2 years that might be uncomfortable, but get you in a better place at 30? I started looking at some college courses today. I don't know that there's any ability for me to apply it at all. But if I can afford to do it, if it takes some of my time, if my kids see me putting the effort in, and then down the road, I might be able to utilize it, great. But even if it just helps give me a greater level of satisfaction today, maybe it's worth investing in. I've always been a very active person, and these last few years have been a lot more not active, and that frustrates me. So I think I'm going to try to find something purposeful to fill that space with. I don't know. And we'll just have to see how it progresses. Because what I can do is the thing to focus on, not what I can't do. And whether or not it's going to be useful down the road or not, it's not necessarily the end goal. It's what I'm working at today, what I'm doing today. And then if it doesn't end up being useful, because what I'm thinking is, I've got some 2-year degrees and certificates and stuff and whatever. If I pull everything together, I've got like a year left before I get a bachelor's degree. Every time I've gone to do this over the years, more and more stuff has like trickled off of that list, and now you have to take more and you have to take more. And I had a friend a few years ago who was going to be done with college, and then by the time she did that last year, she had to do another semester. I think things are just changing at a pace now that I don't know anything previous to me matters. But if I could spend a year, especially over the summer and part of my son's senior year, doing an early childhood certificate, so that if when he decides to go do his 2-year degree at the local community college, he could drop me off at school, or I could stay at school when we drop my daughter off and he could pick me up, whatever. If I could get a job at school part-time, or even have the degree to validate to them that I can at least be a damn volunteer, whatever I got to do, because I've got this year and then next year, and my son is graduated. And we're planning for him to take a 2-year degree track, and then see where it goes. But if I can do something in the interim, because once he's done with high school, I still got 8 years of her being in school before she's jumping into college. My life isn't done. I don't want to just sit around. I want to do some stuff. And even if I can't do what I want to do, I'd rather focus on what I can do and being around people. I need to not just be at my house with nobody visiting and nobody chatting with me day in and day out. I mean, I love Mitzi to death, but I need to do some stuff. And yes, my knitting is fabulous, but so this, remember this that I made a year ago almost. I think I finished it in May of last year. And then once I actually blocked it, it grew way down low and stretched out. So this morning I just soaked it again and I put it in the dryer to kind of shrink it up some. And I just realized, it's just the nature of this wool, this yarn. I have sent this to Portugal 3 times and it's come back. Sorry, Paul, you're not getting it. If you have any interest in any kind of yoga stuff, go look at Polly at North and Soul. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, all the platforms. She's fabulous. I love her. I love her accent. I love her attitude. The weekly FaceTimes were great. Her program, the way it's set up, paid for it last year. Did it last March, I think. March and April, and was it 8 weeks or 12 weeks? I don't remember. I think it was 8, March and April. But I still go back because I've still got this app with all of this stuff that I paid for, and I still go back and I still do some of her breathing techniques. The one I did was a Kundalini yoga thing. And I do some of the breathing techniques, and I do some of the very specific Kundalini yoga practices, and it really helps. Everybody has said to me for years, your son will be driving soon, and then you'll have a driver. Okay. But he is a human being that I am responsible as the parent. He is not responsible for me. I am responsible for him as the parent. Once he can get driving and really wants to be driving, I want him to be driving to a job. I want him to be driving to his own volunteering. I want him to be driving to a community college. And I don't want him to be driving me around as my chauffeur. I want to get him launched in his life. And this is the thing, ableism, if you don't know what that means. That's a movement that disabled people of today have, because able people don't take the extra moments to think, is this experience different for her because of her vision? Somebody recently asked me about watching movies. Watching a movie in a movie theater is pointless. I see even less. Watching a movie on the smallest cell phone, I actually see more of the overall picture and get an idea of the overall of what's going on. I love Netflix's descriptive option. I love listening to everything with the descriptive option. It helps me figure out what's going on. Putting it up here doesn't actually make it better, because you have to remember, the bigger things are, the less I actually see, because I only see that small area, like looking through a straw. I've worked very hard over the years because people have criticized me about moving my head when I'm moving my head to look at two people who are sitting right next to each other. I'm sorry that makes you uncomfortable, but it's what I have to do. We have a whole generation of autistic people growing up that are going to be jumping into the world, and their behaviors might make you uncomfortable. But maybe it's time for you to be uncomfortable. Because maybe in being uncomfortable, you will understand that there needs to be some compassion. We all need to make a greater effort. There's an older lady I befriended earlier this school year. We went out for a few lunches. We've had a hard time connecting recently, but I keep reaching out, even though it feels a little uncomfortable, because it kind of feels like she's pushing me off. Maybe she is trying to ghost me. If that's the case, eventually I'll let it die. But I'm still going to be uncomfortable and make the effort, because that's the only way we get full, real lives, people. It's not always about what we want. So somebody said to me this last year, that I needed to open up my heart, that my heart was really shut down. Actually, a few people said it in the last year. And I understand why that happened, the stresses and everything, and it was just easier. So I've worked really hard to open my heart up again. I am a person who likes to be motivated from my heart. Look with your heart first, not your eyes. But here's the trick. Don't mistake kindness for weakness. Just because I am motivated from my heart and from kindness, it doesn't mean I'm being weak. It doesn't mean you get to step on over me. I still have my boundaries. You don't even get to know where they are, because they're mine. I'm in charge of them. But don't ask me for living from the heart and then criticize where that leads me, especially as a single therapist person. You have no understanding of what it means to be a parent, and to sometimes, and oftentimes as we do in parenting, sacrifice your own comfort for your children. That is the right thing to do. My mother said, I stayed married to your dad till you were grown up. Great. Didn't do us a hill of beans good. But I couldn't have divorced him when I was younger because I didn't have a high school diploma, and I didn't have this, and I didn't have that. Well, then you should have gotten them then and done it then. Because seeing the example of a person in marriage that was so unhappy has led me to believe that that's what marriage is. Not that anyone said it consciously, but this is what we get to figure out in the second half of our life, is that so much stuff is happening in the first half of our life unconsciously and affecting us. So I need to be living from my heart, and my heart really needs to be in it. And the choices I make really need to be full and good. And I need to be here now and not just in where that end result is going to get me, where that choice is going to get me. That's been the big, huge thing that I've been going on and on about. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm doing Grocery Girls without the girls. So let's get to knitting. Okay, 45 minutes in, we're totally knitting, sporadic knitting. So here we go. Superwash, just shrink it a little bit in the dryer and wear it. Because here's my goal, I'm trying to wear things. So after I gave up a bunch of my yarn, I had this cardigan in hold. I wasn't quite done with it, so I finished it. This is actually a crocheted raglan cardigan where I just crocheted at the wrist with a much smaller gauge to pull it in. And I do this thing where it's single crochet in the back loop, and it gives you a little bit of texture like ribbing, but it's like ribbing would be this way, and this is this way. So it just depends on where that's comfortable for you. I have actually been wearing this one. I'm not gonna put anything on it. I take a crochet hook or one of these. I might put a hook on it. I've got a couple. I just have to get there. In putting my daughter's room together, I lost my storage in the house for knitting trinkets. So now I got to figure something out. Because I had to rearrange some end tables and stuff, because hers is the smallest bedroom of the house. But she's got her desk in her room, her chair in her room. She's got her end table and stuff. And I'm not sad that I did it. I'm thrilled. But I have been actually wearing this. I am going to wear this daily for life. I might make another one because I've got more of this yarn. I don't know that I have enough to make a solid color, but I have a bunch of it in different colors, so I might make a multicolor. Someone please remind me that I never wear multicolor things. Okay, so maybe I will just make it much shorter since I now know that it will stretch out so much more, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Because I was focused in on my mojo coming along, I also took out this sweater that was in hold. Oh my, oh my, oh my, here we go. I'm trying to figure out how much yarn one round takes. So I have this sweater that is also crocheted. The body is crocheted, and I'm very limited on the yarn. So I actually just went ahead and knit short sleeve because I actually really like short sleeve. People, I stinking live in Arizona. If I'm gonna wear a sweater, it's gonna be short sleeved. I believe that this is going to stretch out a bit also when I wash it. So I'm very close, but this is heavier weight because it's crocheted than this that was fully knit. And we might have another cold snap next week, so hopefully I can finish this and use it in the cold weather. Otherwise next year. And, oh, you wanna know what else I found? Crepe correction. Honest to God, I really do think this has made a difference. I think it's made a difference in those fine lines around my lips. It's definitely made a difference in all of this stuff on my hands. And they've got a few other options for this that I haven't looked at in the store. But I'm going to, because that has been lovely. So my mojo has really been coming back. I made all those yellow cowls and fingerless gloves. I've still got this one. I'm getting further along on. I'm keeping one little project like fingerless gloves going. And people have been saying, I can't believe you gave away all that yarn. Dudes, did you not see this thing that I have set up? So I have this whole project I have to deal with. I'm finishing up this sweater quantity of yarn scanning. I still have all of those like worsteds. I think there's like 11 of them over there. So I've already got all of this stuff skeined up. I've got some acrylic. I've got some sock tubes. That's more acrylic. I've got some sock tubes in the house. I've got more of these, either a large blanket quantity or possibly a sweater quantity. I think I still have like 100 skeins of yarn. If you stopped and really counted and went through, I think I have 100 skeins. I think I can make at least 5 or 6 sweaters out of what I have, and in solid colors so that I will actually wear them. And that's the key to what I'm doing, is I'm trying to use the things up and actually wear them. I'm kind of glad this came back and I figured out a way to shrink it up enough to wear it. What was this thing I was going to talk about? Okay, worth positivity and body positivity. This is also a thing that has affected me as a woman my whole life, and an ableism, becoming disabled at 35-ish, has also affected me. I'm going to exercise as much as I can. I'm going to do the things I need to do. I'm going to really weigh whether or not something is energy viable, financially viable, or if there's something else I can shift in, that I will actually shift in. And I'm going to start being positive. I got some pink. I don't know it's the right shade, but I got some pink because I'm really light in the wintertime. Lip color. And I have been made to feel like physically that I am unattractive my entire life. People, I'm thin. I'm strong, I'm healthy. Sure, I have aches and pains. You know, I have a pelvis that was cracked. I've got ankylosis, spondylitis, whatever. I've got places that there's so much growth in my spine that it's fusing. So yeah, there's pain. I've got arthritis. But I realize that my body has always gotten me through. My body that had massive migraines for decades has always gotten me through. Right now, the light to do this and the light is getting to be a bit much. So lucky for you, I'll be wrapping up soon. But I'm realizing now that I need to just make different choices at my age, because we do need to make different choices. What works at 30 isn't going to work at 50. What works at 50 isn't going to work at 70. But if we focus in on what does work, then that's going to get us to that next step and that next thing that works. And we only have today. I can plan for tomorrow, but stuff might happen and change that. We only have today. I have been trying for years to do color work. And I've done many things that get about this far. Swatches that you think look decent because you think, oh, that looks so good on the inside. But then you wash and dry the swatches and you're like, it's not. There's not enough give. It's too tight. It's too this. It's too that. I want those beautiful sweaters. That's what I want. I don't just want stripes. I don't just want... Well, guess what? I've been saying it for years. I don't want to give away too much, but you know, in traditional Danish sweaters are texture sweaters. They're not color work sweaters, they're texture sweaters. Well, I can knit and purl because people like to knit. So, guess what some of those one color sweaters I'm going to make are going to be? I'm gonna actually slowly plod through, use the dang book, and make the thing that I can make. You know, I've got this doodad. I've got that doodad. This is magnets. You know, I can slide it into the page, and then I can read, and I can go line by line if I have to. Sure, it'll be slow, but what do I care? I'm gonna start something and I'm gonna finish something because that is a great level of satisfaction. And you know what I can do with this? Instead of changing out the colors, I can use the chart for knits and purls. This is what I'm talking about, people. Let's figure out what we can do today. What can we do today? What can we do today that is going to give us that end result that we want, that sense of completion? What can we do today that's going to get us involved with some more people, that's going to give us some opportunities, that's, you know, let's look with our heart, not our eyes, first at ourselves. I realize I've been not doing that. I need to do that. You know how freeing that is? I might just throw that whole damn thing away and not unwind it. Or I might unwind it to have a little pop of color. Free yourself already. Free yourself. Look with your heart first, not your eyes.